Well, let's get to it. Let's put our money where our mouth is. It is week one of our pick'em here on Bigger 10, our confidence level picks. You're going to tell what Aaron and I think of who's really the favorite we like. We're going to put our own lines on these games. We're going to pick the winners straight up. But Aaron, welcome to the program. My name is Steve Deace. By the way, I guess I should tell everybody what my name is. I took for granted, though, I wore my name badge. Everybody would just kind of know. But Aaron, good to see you. You ready to pick some games?
Absolutely. Cannot wait. And emphasis on the not at this point. At the time we're recording this, games, about 16, 17 of them, I want to say, kick off in about 3 hours. So hopefully my 2.5-week-old is going to cooperate and maybe take a nap this evening. That would be nice.
We'll keep standings all year long. The loser, what is something humiliating that we can make one another do, whoever loses here?
I don't know. Maybe I'll give you some Hawkeye gear. Maybe you can wear that. Okay. Maybe I know you can probably supply me with some maize and blue, something or another. Hint, at the end of the season, I'm probably going to be showing up in maize and blue.
We can do maybe you can force me to wear like a Hawkeye schmedium.
There you go.
We can do fat guy and a little hawk. If you want to do that, we can do that.
I like that idea. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Or I'll make you wear something Michigan after the season is over. So let's get to our confidence pick'em. We're going to do every Big Ten game all year long, and it's brought to you by our friends over at BetQL. If you want to get an advantage over your sports book, you need to download BetQL. It's the only app you'll need to make the smart bets. Their computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they do this for not just sides and spreads, but also over-unders and even player props as well. And they have a feature that I love, which is the sharp data. You want to know what the guys who do this for a living, where are they putting their money down? You want to know, they help you track that, as well as all the line movements, latest news, injury news, etc. So head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download BetQL. And you can also head to try.betql.co/pick. Let me give that to you again. Try.betql.co/pick. And while you're there, enter the discount code PICK at payment checkout to get 25% off their subscription offerings. 25% off with the discount code PICK at payment checkout at try.betql.co/pick. All right, Aaron, let's begin. You and I will go back and forth, and we'll do this in the order of the games we're the most confident, with a very quick handicap for why we picked the way we did. And I will begin with my 10-point game. I've got Nebraska over Fordham because Nebraska's playing Fordham. That's my handicap.
Mine as well. I mean, if you don't even know what a Fordham is, I mean, is that like a pickup truck or I don't understand what a Fordham is. So I've got Nebraska over Fordham because if this would be one of the most major upsets in recent years in college football if this were to go down in flames.
I don't know. Fordham sounds good, like the cross between a ham and a pickup truck. That's as Americana as it gets. Right there.
There you go.
All right, my 9-point game this week, even though I would not lay the wood on the road, and there's some rumors of some COVID issues with Ohio State, Chris Ottman-Bell, Minnesota's best receiver. He may be iffy for the game, but because they overall clearly are the more talented team, even with starting a quarterback for the first time since pre-Woody Hayes, who's never thrown a pass in a college game, I'm going with Ohio State as my 9-point game, just because they're the best roster in our league.
Hard to argue with that. My 9-point game, though, is Illinois over the University of Texas, San Antonio. I know this is a sexy pick this weekend, and a letdown spot for Illinois. UTSA is a little bit better, I think, than people think, but they're still, a Conference USA team or one of those group of 5 conferences. I still got to roll with the Big Ten here in this spot. They're not a Coastal Carolina that can come in and beat a Kansas handily. Illinois is not anything close to Kansas at this point, so that's my 9 spot.
For my 8-point game, I'm taking my beloved Michigan Wolverines over Western Michigan. Just a superior talent advantage, even though Western has one of the better quarterbacks in the MAC, one of the highest returning productions in the MAC. But I just think Michigan will be too much for them in the trenches. And I think Michigan will run the ball very effectively. So I'll take Michigan as my 8-point game.
My 8 spot is Ohio State over Minnesota. The only reason why I have them just a couple of notches below here is there's still, in my mind, a little bit of a question mark at quarterback, but they're so strong at literally every other position against Minnesota that it's hard to put them any lower than that.
My 7-point game is Rutgers over Temple. This is the biggest favorite over a team not called UMass that I believe Rutgers has been since 2014. They're expecting a sellout crowd there in Piscataway as well. Now, that's pending the flooding and everything that's going on in the Northeast, courtesy of Tropical Storm Ida, so we shall see. But I'm going to take the Scarlet Knights as my 7-point game this week.
Have you ever put 7 points on the Rutgers at any point since they've been a part of the league?
Or made them a top, shelf confidence pick? No.
My number 7 spot is Michigan over Western Michigan. As you said before, this should be this game should be over by halftime. Should be over by halftime. I don't see Western Michigan really giving any fits to Michigan whatsoever. So again, it is Michigan though. It is Jim Harbaugh and all the mystery and intrigue surrounding that program. So that's why I've got them at the 7.
By the way, in case we do get cancellations, we are in hurricane season right now, for example.
Right.
What we will do is we'll just move every game up 1 point.
Sounds good.
And then if it's your 1-point game, then you're only out 1 point. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, my 6-point game, and I'll honor the original rules that your predecessor John Miller and I set into place that you can't change a pick once submitted. But I'm a little concerned about the Wisconsin story of 2 running backs in a fist fight. One of them apparently using a knife to try to assault the other. He's been thrown out of school. The kid who was getting assaulted, he's been suspended at the same time. I mean, this is like John L. Smith, Michigan State stuff. Not kind of locked down Wisconsin culture. You would think when you're starting the season with 3 of your first 4 games are Penn State, Notre Dame, and Michigan, 3 of the 6 winningest teams of all time, you would think, you might have something else going on in life other than, here, let me stab my teammate.
Yeah.
So this is just, I'm a little concerned after what happened with COVID last year, Quintus Cephas the year before, and we're starting to see that Barry Alvarez culture kind of erode, like we saw the Bo Schembechler culture eventually erode at Michigan. So I'll stick with 6 points on Wisconsin. But if I was putting this in right now, I'd probably still pick Wisconsin to win, but it'd be closer to 2 or 1.
Yeah, you made those picks yesterday, and I'll get to my pick and explain my reasoning later. My 6th spot is Northwestern over Michigan State. Now, in my defense, I thought we were picking all favorites by the book because I think Michigan State has a pretty good, as I said yesterday on Bigger 10, pretty good shot here against Northwestern. But I'm just not confident. I'm more confident in Northwestern over Michigan State than I am the rest of the games below, so that's why I've got them at the 6th spot. I think it's going to be a rock fight, really. 45 points is what I saw yesterday as the total. I don't see it getting anywhere close there, so I've got Northwestern over Michigan State in my 6th spot.
I'm putting 5 points down on Iowa over Indiana. Indiana, I'm a little concerned. First time in the preseason AP poll since 1969. You're still concerned about Michael Penix and where he's at with that knee. What's it like being the hunted instead of the hunter? And this just seems like the kind of game Iowa always wins under Kirk Ferentz. And one of the things that you're going to see from me a lot these first 2 weeks of the season is I think both first home games and then the first home game against a team with a pulse. For these places that have huge crowds or just raucous fans like Camp Randall, like Kinnick Stadium, on top of the normal home field, I think you give them another point and a half. Because the pent-up energy in those facilities, getting this back after not knowing for sure when or if it would ever come back. I mean, this time last year, Big Ten wasn't playing football, right? So I think that you're really talking about lathered up crowds, home crowds in these places. And I definitely think that's a factor at Kinnick Stadium. So I'm going to take Iowa and put 5 points on the Hawks to win.
My 5-point pick is Wisconsin over Penn State. And if I had done this yesterday, I probably would have had it a 6 like you did. I bumped it down. I mean, the rest of these, in my mind, are a coin flip. It's just a matter of who I trust more. And right now I've got still Wisconsin over Penn State, but who knows? I mean, Wisconsin, I want to say I think it was 2019 or maybe it was 2018 when they started out against BYU, which was kind of it wasn't quite as good as this Penn State team, but it had a pulse, had a pretty good pulse. It's going to be a pretty tough matchup for Wisconsin, so that's why I've got them at a 5.
For 4 points, I am going to go ahead and take Purdue strictly because it's at home. Tough cross-country trip for Oregon State, even though the game is later, so there won't be as much of a time change factor for them. Oregon State coming into the season with a little momentum, getting a big win over Oregon last year. But I'm going to take Purdue just because they're at home, but I am concerned about 3 defensive coordinators. I wonder if that's like the old adage about if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. If you have 3 defensive coordinators, do you have one? I mean, that just seems like a Chinese fire drill waiting to happen. But I'll take Purdue just because they're at home.
My 4 spot is Iowa over Indiana. Now, again, I think Indiana actually is probably going to prevail in this game. But I just don't have I don't have confidence in as much confidence in the other picks, the final 3. So I'm going Iowa over Indiana. It's going to be a great game, and I think it is going to come down to quarterback play at the end of the game. Who can make that clutch play? And I just think Indiana has the advantage there.
Can I give you some advice?
You bet.
On every iffy game, bet against your favorite team.
Bet against? Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's called a hedge. I mean, an emotional hedge.
Yes, because one good way to get the emotional hedge, the emotional downer taken care of is a little cash in your pocket.
Exactly.
You bribe yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I've done that a few times.
Yes. All right, next, let's go for the 3-point game. Maryland over West Virginia. I think West Virginia lost a lot on defense. I think Maryland, very explosive on offense. And I think this is the rare case where, again, College Park might be a bit of a snake pit with a big crowd there for the Mountaineers on the road. So I will take Maryland at home as an underdog, and I think they're going to win the game straight up, but I'm so confident I'm only putting 3 points on it.
These final 3 picks, well, mine is the same at 3, Maryland over West Virginia. These final 3 picks are the 3 teams I trust the least in this league. Of those 3 teams that I trust the least, I trust Maryland the most. I do agree with your assessment of West Virginia. Maryland should be able to take care of business, but I'm not super confident in it, so that's why I've got it at a 3.
Speaking of not being super confident, I'm going to put 2 points on Illinois over UTSA. I don't know, man. I'm a situational guy. Listen, I'm rooting hard for the Illini.
Yeah.
They start 2-0. My best bet, Illinois went over the win total, is pretty much a lock at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just played your guts out against Nebraska. You go on the road to play Virginia in a Power 5 versus Power 5 next game. And in between, here comes a team of 4 letters that outruns Wile E. Coyote. And by the way, they were 7-5 in the old Fun Belt last year, and they bring back like 21 starters. And it's supposed to be 100 degrees or something, I guess. They won't care about that. They're from freaking San Antonio. So I'm just scared to death of this game. I want Illinois to win badly, but I'm worried about a letdown. So I'm only putting 2 points on the Illini.
My 2-point pick is Purdue over Oregon State. Purdue has not started out super hot in regular seasons anyway. And Oregon State, I think, is better than they have been, at least in the recent history. I'm just overall on the direction of Purdue's program. I'm not exactly bullish. If this game was out in Corvallis at Oregon State, I would actually take Oregon State straight up. But since it's at home, I'm going to give a 2, a pretty paltry confidence point to Purdue over Oregon State.
Well, finally, my 1-point game, and this is basically, I'm just putting a point on Pat Fitzgerald. I don't know what will happen in this game. Northwestern doesn't have much of a home field advantage, so I don't know that the raucous crowd matters here. It's a big revenge spot for them. Michigan State pretty much humiliated them, one of their only 2 losses a year ago. But Northwestern has the least returning production in our league. Michigan State has 40 new players on the roster. I don't like Northwestern's quarterback. I don't know who Michigan State's quarterback is. So I have no idea. So I'll just put 1 point on Pat Fitzgerald. That's what I'm doing.
My 1-point pick, Rutgers over Temple, because they're still Rutgers. Until they prove me differently, they're still Rutgers. So I'm putting 1 point on Rutgers over Temple.
Well, if you enjoyed our Pick'em segment, again, make sure you check out our friends over at BetQL. We want to thank them for sponsoring this, and they're the only app you're going to need to beat your sportsbook. Find their information along with a 25% off discount code in the description of this video, and also check out the special BetMGM offer in the description in order to receive a free year of BetQL and other sportsbook sign-up offers and bonuses. BetQL, the #1 app to compare betting odds, and is a must-get if you want to beat your sportsbook this football season. For Aaron McIntire, I'm Steve Deace. Remember to follow us during game day for Game Day Takes at Bigger10 on Twitter. We'll see you next week right here on Bigger 10.